what it's all about.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do something make us happy with that.
That's right. That's right, y'all. We about to get it in. 15, 14. What up, people? What's good? Salute.
Yes, sir.
Yo, what's good, everybody? Salute to the tribe. We're hip hop and comics and hip hop. We're a niche channel. Reserved for the best. It's super dope. I do sell comics. Check me out on Instagram at 6th_element_comics. Yeah, because comic books are the sixth element of hip hop. What's good, everybody? It's the sixth element of hip hop. Y'all already know Reno in the house and your Stew Dog, Cole. Stew Dog is in the building. What's good, Stew, man? We've been running ragged all day.
Oh, I know.
It's been crazy, man.
It just seems like it's never gonna stop.
It's Wednesday.
Thanksgiving holiday.
Mm-hmm. It's Wednesday. Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving, Slade. To everybody that's watching, happy T-Day. Well, that's tomorrow, but yeah, man. If you are a significant other, if you got a wife, we already know you've been running ragged all day from this store to that store, back and forth. I think I've been to the store 8 times today. Yeah, it's been crazy. Knowing Rad, salute.
About 10 times. Yeah, I've been about 10, 12 times today myself. Knowing Rad, salute. Happy Thanksgiving, sir.
Slade been out most of the day as well. Well, we here, man. We back, we relax and we chilling. We gonna at least hour and kick it on some good man stuff. We're gonna talk about Andor. We're gonna talk about Nas, and because both Andor and Nas are just like blowing my mind right now. They're amazing. Divorced, thank God. Hey, I mean, listen. Sometimes it's better that way. Sometimes it's better. Yeah, but so Nas, man, Nas KD3, Hit Boy, they're doing their thing. This album is crazy. I keep listening to it every day. It's like becoming more and more dope to me the more and more I listen to it, and that's the true mark of a classic right there. I think this album is an instant classic, man.
I do too.
So. Yeah, I
do
think
as well.
Because we don't. It's not too often that one of our guys, one of our legends, drops something that really makes me feel like this is something they would have dropped in the 90s. Like that's how I feel about KD3. Like this is an album Nas would have dropped back then. That like he's not rapping like
younger part of his career, yeah.
Word, like his style on here, his flow, everything has just been that good, that Illmatic Nas, really like that Stillmatic, that Illmatic. It was written that good Nas, man, and Nas. Yeah. So Jay-Z, he's always trying to one up Nas, bro. Like every time Nas drop an album, Jay-Z drops something. He does this. Like it's been like a what do you call it? It's like a habit, man. He just so he's reminding the culture, you know what I'm saying, that you know what I'm saying, he said he the GOAT, you know what I'm saying. He's reminding the culture that he's the GOAT, and Young Guru is helping spread the awareness. But on last Tuesday, Guru, Hov's longtime audio engineer and producer, took to Instagram to show some big love to his big homie, and Young Guru uploaded a picture of the proud father sitting on a couch wearing all black and white sneakers, and Jay-Z, legally known as Sean Carter, is seen drinking from one of his Grammy Award trophies and surrounded by a gaggle of other accolades and trays full of assorted berries and biscuits and snacks and Grammy. 24 Grammys and shit. 20 you got 20 of them up there with him, and so he took a minute, man, to pay homage to the legacy and show his joints. But Guru said, it's crazy how one 5-minute convo with Hove can refocus your entire life. He said, I appreciate you, big homie. My anchor is strong for motivational purposes only, but this is my real life, end quote. And but he drops this picture of him holding his Grammys right when Nas uploaded his track list for KD3, because KD3's got all this Grammy buzz around it. Like Nas might finally get the Grammy that has eluded him his whole career. I don't think he's gotten a Grammy yet, so this is gonna be his first Grammy. And so Jay-Z immediately posted his picture with all his Grammys. Because if you remember, like every time recently Nas has dropped an album or a project, Jay-Z will drop something, either him and Beyonce or something, and it's like, it's crazy. I was looking at the I actually found like a list of items that that he dropped when Nas dropped. So Stillmatic dropped on December 18th, 2001. Jay-Z dropped Unplugged December 18th, 2001. Nas comes out with Street's Disciple November 30th, 2004. Jay-Z puts out Collision Course November 30th, 2004. Nas puts out his greatest hits November 6th, 2007. Jay-Z drops American Gangster November 6th, 2007. Nas drops Nasir June 15th, 2018. Jay-Z drops Everything Is Love June 16th, 2018, the next day. Nas dropped the Lost Tapes 2 July 19th, 2019. Jay-Z and Beyonce dropped The Lion King July 19th, 2019. It's like, at that point, it's not a coincidence anymore. Like he doing that. But it's funny, you know what I'm saying? Like KD3 is the highest rated hip hop album of 2022 on Metacritic. It got a 92 out of 100 rating on Metacritic, and that's Nas's highest rated project on Metacritic, even higher than Illmatic, the 20th anniversary, which they gave an 89 out of 100. But no, this does not mean that KD3 is better than Illmatic. It just means that Metacritic is not always accurate. But he said, so Nas sort of addressed Jay-Z sharing the Grammy photos after he dropped his track list during an interview with Trevor Noah on the Daily Show Monday night. Esco talked about Hove's recent picture of his Grammys, and this prompted Noah to ask Nas about his song Thun and the bars regarding Jay-Z. And but Nas, he revealed that the lyrics were all love. You know what I'm saying? Because he said when I released the track list for that album the other day, he released a picture of all his Grammys. And he said, yeah, shout out to Hove, man. But yeah, the photo, like I said, was posted on the 8th. And you can see Jay-Z sitting there with all his Grammys. But yeah, he dropped that shit the same day and shit. But regarding Nas's reference to Jay-Z on KD3, he jokingly, rapped about the lasting effect of their beef on his song Thun. And he said, no beef or rivals. They playing ether on Tidal. Brothers can do anything when they decide to. In a Range Rover dissecting bars from Takeover, sometimes I text Hova like, nah, this ain't over, laughing. That's what he said. And elsewhere in the interview, Nas talked about being what Noah described as a living hip-hop legend. Not just a hip-hop legend, but a living hip-hop legend. Because all the hip-hop legends are usually, dead. And to have one that's still alive and still considered a legend before they passed away, you know what I'm saying? And Nas is 49. He examined his blessings and his current position in the culture and shed light on, all his friends that died before he made it rapping, before he made his career. He said, I lost so many friends even before I got into music. I didn't think I would get into music and then still see it going on. But yeah, KD3, man, they dropped Friday, November 11th. It was the final installment in Nas and Hit Boy's KD trilogy. 17 tracks, didn't have any features, and saw Nas covering topics like Pete Rock's lawsuit and MC Serch selling his portion of Nas's catalog, and nostalgia, growing up, growing older and evolving in hip hop, and like it's a lot of great subjects, man, that Nas touches on, and it just I don't know, man. I just really love this album, bro. It's the best thing he's put out in so long.
Mm, I agree. I agree. I mean, I like all of Nas's music, man. Sooner or later, like it's
Yeah, I
some
remember
stuff
Hit
I
Boy.
listen to. Yeah, sometimes I listen to, I be like, and then I go back and listen to a year or two later or a couple months. I'm like, joint, that joint, like I like it more. I'm like, oh, that's hot.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's
yeah.
yeah,
Nas said that.
yeah, and it's always like he said, it ain't for you at that time. And some of his music hasn't been for me at the time that I heard it, but then I listened to it later on, and that's when I can get into it. But these last three albums, The King Disease, I've gotten into all three of them. All three of them have been
Yeah,
good for me, man.
yeah.
Been good. But that's how they are. All three of them have been. The more you listen to them, the more you like them. Like it's been like that for all three,
Yeah, I
because all
mean,
three, yeah, I started off the same way. I was like,
KD1 was
God,
good, like, KD2 was alright. Like, I dug those, and I listened to
yeah.
them a lot, but this one is
One
on
and
another
three is the best ones to me. Two is like,
yeah,
yeah, but one and three are the
yeah,
best ones to me. Yeah, I like one
yeah,
and three the
yeah.
most. Yeah, I like those the
One
most.
I like what I really like about this one, because he's the like, Nas has put out KD1, KD2, he put out Magic, and he put out this one. That's all the 4 albums he's done recently, and I think this one is far beyond the other 3, because it's not like he's found some new, way to rap or some shit. It's almost like
Right.
he went back to that
Nah,
good old Illmatic
it's,
style,
it's
that
like I
good
always say, Reno. It's
hip
about
hop,
production, man. I don't
and
care
it's
who
and
you
you gotta
are.
take it back to the
Yeah,
essence, man.
yeah. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you come from. Your production ain't right. It ain't gonna be right, man. You gotta put your heart and soul into your music. And
Always
Nas been
that.
putting his heart and soul into it. And that's why when in the early '90s and all that, that's why when they were younger, their music was so good because they put their heart and soul into it. Yeah, I like all
Mhm.
Nas too, Norman Rad. I like all Nas too.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah,
they putting it back. He putting it back in there.
what's his
Not that
name?
what is
Hit
hey
Boy.
put it there. What do you say?
Oh, he said not that Metacritic is the standard for hip hop because we know good hip hop when we hear it. Yeah, Metacritic. Because I was
Okay,
saying
that's true.
earlier
Oh,
how they
Hermetically, yeah,
because they
that's
said
right. It's like
Metacritic is, they're saying this album is like they gave it like a 97 out of 100. It's like the highest rated hip hop album of the year and all that, but they rated Illmatic as an 89 out of 100. So they actually rated this one higher than Illmatic, but again, that was the Illmatic 20th anniversary. It's 20 years later, so Metacritic's going on a lot of different
right.
things.
That's
It's
what I
not
said.
just hip hop heads, it's the casual audience and people that are voting on
Right.
shit and Twitter users and all that shit. So, but Hit Boy
That's what
addressed.
I'm
It was funny because you remember the other day 21 Savage put his foot in his mouth saying
mm-hmm.
that Nas was irrelevant, but Hit Boy addressed that recently because uh he was on Power 106 in LA on Thursday, and he broke down the definition of King's disease and how it relates to 21's comments. He said, even take like the 21 Savage thing. He said, I just feel like that's part of King's disease. He said, how do you look at a black hip hop artist, legendary guy who just won his first Grammy a couple years ago, right? Just put out 4 critically acclaimed albums, you know what I'm saying? And and Hit Boy also compared, the sentiments that younger artists in general have for veterans of hip hop with the reverence shown to icons in other genres. He said, "We
I
don't
think it's just
see."
hate, bro. I think it's hate.
He said, "We don't
Is it?
see." Said we don't see like these young rock guys being like Aerosmith. Them cats is irrelevant. And we don't, we wouldn't see that, but we have to see that with hip hop. That's just whack. That's just what's keeping us there, and that's what King's disease is. End quote. The boardsman who scored the entirety of Nas's last 4 album releases, including his most recent effort, King's Disease 3, concluded that 21 Savage has come under fire for his appraisal of Nas's current stature in the game, claiming that although he's among the best in his craft, he's not relevant in the same manner that stars like himself and her lost co-star Drake are. Yeah. Now,
Mm.
I wanted to talk about this for a second because, you know, 21 Savage, he's not an idiot. Okay, he knows what he knows. You know that Nas is relevant to hip hop. Because if you look at the quote, because we only get this snippet, now you got to go back and watch the whole interview with or the whole conversation with Savage and the other guys, the conversation that they were having to get the context. Because he says the beginning of his quote is, "What are y'all saying is relevant though?" And what he meant by that was like, what do you mean by relevant? Do you mean like right now they're the newest guy out? Or do you mean like, you know, like define it? Because then he said, I don't feel like he's relevant, you know, today. I just feel like he's got fans. He has a loyal ass fan base and he still makes good music.
Nah, man,
So,
I
so
disagree. He
it,
meant what
it
he said. He meant what he
no, he meant
said, and he
no, he
said what
meant
he
what
meant.
he said. No, 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 no. He recanted. I mean, he said that's not what I meant. He actually walked back what he said. He said that's not what I meant. He said y'all just be taking stuff and running with it. He said, but he wasn't saying that Nas was not, you know, dope or not a pioneer or any of these things.
No,
He
you're
just
right.
meant that he
He
wasn't
just said
new,
he he just said no. When he
not
said that,
new.
I think he meant relevant as in today's music. Like, all right, he put out a good album, but that ain't, this is what we listening to now. You could
Yeah,
listen to this now, which is
and
still a
in a
diss.
lot of
It's
ways,
still
he's
a
not
diss in
wrong.
itself.
It's not, but it's not really a diss
He's
because he's not wrong. Nas is. I'm gonna tell you like
nah.
this:
I'm not gonna say it's
teenagers
a
are not.
diss. I'm gonna tell you
Teenagers
no.
ain't buying Nas's
It's not a
music.
diss when
Teenagers are not listening to Nas. That's what he means.
it's not a diss. And this is right. And he could say that, but it's still dumb as hell to say. Like
Yeah.
nobody cares
Well,
what
he knows
teenagers
that.
listening to. Nobody cares what teenagers listening to. Like I'm gonna keep it a buck. Who cares what they're listening to? Because all the people that was young ain't listening to his music now. It's guys that were teenagers listening to his music, and now the teenagers ain't listening to his music right now. His music ain't relevant either with somebody in their teens. Because if you ask them about 20, they're gonna be like 21 Savage. Oh, they now my sons, they're in their 20s, people from I say 25, I say 22 to 28, 29, 30, they might listen to 21 Savage, but
Yeah.
anybody
Well, that's
21 and
what.
under, they ain't listening to 21 Savage. I can
That's
tell you
what.
that now.
If you go to the record labels and if you go to the record industry, music business, they will tell you what is relevant is what kids that are teens, like I think 15 to 30. If you're not 15 to 30, they don't give a fuck. They're not focused on you. They're not worried about you. They're not putting out music for you. If you're not 15 to 30, they don't care. And that's what he means. Like that 15 to 30-year-olds is not relevant to 15 and 30-year-olds. No, he's not. They're not really listening to Nas. They're listening to 21 Savage and Trippie Redd and Lil
They ain't listen.
Uzi Vert and all this shit.
I can tell you
You
that
know,
now. I talk to a lot of younger guys all the time. They definitely ain't listening to 21 Savage. They definitely ain't listening to him. To them, they feel listen, 50 said it best, and I'm gonna keep it a buck, and it's relevant to this day. No, 50, not 50, Ice T. It's relevant now. It was relevant then. It's going to be relevant for the future. You got 5 years in the rap game. In any music game, you got 5 years to get your act together, get your fans together, and get your followers together. Yo, Corey, what's up? Um, Nas has a cult following. So when he put out an album, he's not putting it out to the relevant fans. He's putting it
right.
out for his cult following.
That's
So
what 21 Savage was
21
saying.
Savage, right, if
That was
21
21
Savage,
Savage's point. He
yeah,
was saying
if he
he's not
didn't
putting it
put,
out, he's putting it out for his cult fans.
yeah,
That's
he
who's
has a
buying his
cult
music. That's
following.
who he's relevant.
Right.
Who his
And he's gonna
relevant
pick
fan.
up a couple new fans along the way. But here's the thing. If 21 Savage didn't get his act together in those 5 years, then he got what he got. Ice T said it best, and it's the truth, man. Like you see artists when Drake
And
was popping, he was popping for about 5, 6 years, and then it died
yeah,
down. Drake could
bro,
put out an
like
album, people still
I
gonna
don't
buy it.
I
But
don't
the
think
height of his
21
career is those 5 years.
I don't think 21 Savage I don't think he's dumb enough to believe that in 30 years people are still going to be wondering what the next 21 Savage album is going to be.
He does. He
That's
does think that.
he
He
doesn't.
100%
He knows
absolutely.
that's not
He
no, he doesn't.
100% absolutely thinks that. If we could get him on this show, I prove it.
I don't think so.
He absolutely thinks that.
I don't think he thinks
Yeah, I
that.
know he does. I know he does. Well, did
Well,
you
how do you
watch?
know that?
Listen, did you watch the
Well,
one?
how
Did
do
you
you
watch?
know he does?
Because he's still making music and he's making comments about other people's albums. So
That
like,
don't mean
if
that he
you
thinks that. That's what I'm
if
saying.
you if you're not afraid, check this, if you're not afraid of something, then you don't care what it do. If you're not afraid of anything, you don't care what it do. If a plane look like it's gonna crash and you standing there looking at it and you ain't afraid that it's gonna hit you, you ain't gonna move. It's the same thing. He made a comment because he think like, look, like, damn, this Joker in the game, how many years? And he come out and they talking about it. I just came out with an album with Drake, and they ain't talking about Drake did his 5 years. You did your 5 years. This next artist up now. It's always gonna be next artist up. And if you don't build your cult following in those 5, 6 years, you can hang it up, bro. You can hang it up.
Yeah, but 21 Savage does not think that he's a Nas. He doesn't think that he's gonna have these fans in 30 years worrying about his next album. He don't think that. And I'm a, and you know how I know? Because he quickly backed up what he said about Nas. You see what I'm saying? Like he knows that plane is coming. He knows it's gonna hit his ass. Because that's why he came out. He said, "I would never disrespect Nas or any legend who paved the way for me. Y'all be trying to take stuff and run with it, like twisting my words and taking it out of context." So even if he did mean it at the time, he's smart enough to know that I have to, walk that back and take it back. You know
Cause
what I'm
this is,
saying? So
this
whether
is
you believe it
21
or not, you know he
Savage's.
better take that shit back now. And he did. He took it
This
back.
is 21. This is 21 Savage's fifth year being
Is it
relevant in the
really?
music game. Yep. He dropped his first album in 2017. This is
Yeah.
his first. This is his fifth year. So
Yeah.
he
He know
feeling
better,
it
bro.
right
He
now.
knows better. He's not
Hey, no
he
better,
knows
and he feeling it. He
he knows
feeling it,
better.
and he really think that 30 years from now he gonna make music and people gonna still be buying it. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. The music you making is a fact.
I don't know.
When you sent me the video about Math with Math Hoffa and Search, Search said it
Mhm.
best. When we made music, we made good music, but we made sure that in the long run we was gonna be able to eat off it. It's still like we made it relevant so that we could eat off it in the moving down the line. These
Yeah,
guys
yeah.
now, they only for
They made the
here and
contract
now.
so that they could all get
Right. These guys
paid.
only here and now. Prince been make before he died made music. How many years? I own over 20 Prince albums, and they're all good. 20. Look, bro, it's something in itself when you can put out 20 albums that people want to listen to. You find me somebody with 20 albums with at least one song on every album somebody want to listen to. That's 20 songs. That's the greatest hits album.
Yeah, Prince got some good shit. I personally
How
don't
many
listen to
albums
Prince
Michael
music.
Jackson?
Like I ain't never put on no Prince album, but that's just me.
Oh, you ain't
But
never,
no,
how you get
I'm
married?
not
Oh,
a
how you
Prince
get
guy. I'm
married,
not a
man?
Prince fan.
You ain't put
I'm
on
not a
no
Prince
Prince. You ain't put on no Prince, man. How you get?
I'm just
How was
keeping it a
Blade?
buck. I mean, I can front and act like because everybody else acts like Prince is all that, and Prince is great. He's a great artist. I'm not
Oh
taking nothing
man,
away from
how
him.
you?
He's got some
Hold up,
classes,
man.
but
How many?
me,
How many?
I'm not putting in
You know how many?
A Prince album and
You know how
riding
many
down the
kids
road.
was made? You know how many kids was made off of Prince songs? Blaze wasn't made off of Prince songs.
Nope,
Damn,
nope, nope. Blaze was made
damn.
off of
Wait, R. Kelly?
of Jodeci and shit like that. I don't, maybe
No
some
Prince.
Marvin Gaye, some
There's
Al
a-
Green, but not no Prince. No, we
Ain't throw no Prince in it.
diamonds and pearls. No, we not doing that, bro. We
Scandalous,
not we not doing
scandalous. None of that.
it. The only Prince shit I fuck with is Purple Rain. The album Purple Rain, Raspberry Beret, all
Yeah,
that shit. That's
well,
fly. That shit is fly.
wow, man. Look,
I rock with
how
that.
many people in the chat? How many people in the chat, man? What was your kids made off Prince? It had to be
How
Prince,
many people in the
R.
chat
Kelly.
really
It had to be
legitimately
Prince.
put in Prince albums and bumped them in their
Oh, there's
cars? I
quite a
want to know.
few.
I want to
Quite a
know.
few.
I
Quite a
want to know.
few, man.
Let's come on.
Quite. I'd have bumped Scandalous many a night driving home or somewhere. Come on, man. Come on, man.
What Corey? Michael Jackson. Speaking of Michael Jackson, who is definitely, you know what I'm saying, that's the GOAT. You can't top. But speaking of Michael Jackson, I just heard some shit about Akon. Made a really good point. He said that Chris Brown's alleged, affiliation with street gangs has kept him from reaching the same heights that Michael Jackson once did at the peak of his own career. it was during a recent appearance on Shannon Sharp's Club Shay Shay podcast.
Hmm.
Akon said, "In this day and age, the only person, in my opinion, that could have achieved just as great of a legacy as Michael Jackson would have been Chris Brown. I just believe that Chris Brown, if he wasn't surrounded by the circle of oh, I'm sorry. I just believe that Chris Brown wasn't surrounded by the circle of creative people that Mike was surrounded by because
I
Chris got
believe
the
that.
talent. He just needed the direction." Um, yeah, he said, so imagine if Chris had Mike's team. Just imagine that. But Chris, he got bloods around him. He got little gangbangers around him. He don't have the guidance. He's smart, but he's smart in what this generation attracts. And yeah, he's right.
Hmm.
Because he's basically, having all the bloods and being blood affiliated and all of that stuff, because he's been rumored to be like he got jumped in or something. In 2016, he sort of lashed out at certain entertainers claiming to be members of gangs in a post on social media. And in that same year, he was hit with a lawsuit by Suge Knight following a shooting in LA with Suge Knight claiming that Chris Brown's affiliation with the gangs led to the incident. And so Suge Knight was actually suing Chris Brown for gang shit. Like, whoa, yeah, you want some shit when Suge Knight is suing you, talking about you getting too rowdy. But yeah,
You
yeah,
definitely are. Yeah, you definitely are. Especially if Suge Knight said you too right.
word, word. Yeah, Chris Brown said, he said, when you're in LA, you're around people, you meet everybody, you meet Crips, you meet Bloods, especially in this industry that I'm in. I'm not in the country world, I'm not in the all the way pop world. You're in hip hop. So hip hop and R&B, all that kind of messes together, especially when you're in these events or these places where everybody can be there. I'm cordial at the end of the day. It's never no disrespect, but it's cordial. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it, Chris. Uh, First of all, you're an R&B pop artist. You did not have to jump in the hip hop lane so heavily. And number two, hip hop ain't all gangbanging. Hip hop is not all gangster rap. So let's
Yeah.
not blame hip hop now. Um, and but yeah, Chris Brown, he's always been like a major Michael Jackson fan. He always says, and recently, he credits, Michael Jackson for influencing his career. And you know, what was it said? I stay the hell up out of it. I kind of back off it. My personal take on it is I wouldn't even be breathing or even be able to sing a song if that man didn't exist. Talking about Michael Jackson. So I don't know if they look at it as the Jordan Kobe thing, but I can't even look at it. He's light years ahead. There's no competing with him. Hell no. I got shrines of this man hanging up in my house. Hell no, I ain't better than Michael Jackson. So now that's the type of react. Listen, guys, that's the type of shit a 21 Savage should be saying about Nas. That's the difference between hip hop and other music genres. Because
But that's the point I was making, Reno.
oh
That's
no,
the
I
point
feel
I'm
you.
when they come to rap, when they come to rap, they always on that old against young, strong
Right.
against weak, big against small.
Push
Man,
thing.
we all should be getting it. Like I remember when Run DMC, when everybody had a chance, when Pete Rock and them had a chance, everybody had a chance to produce for Run DMC. They made Down with the King. Everybody got on songs with him. People was honored. It was like, yo, I'm on a song Run DMC. Now
Yep.
21 Savage get on a song with, oh man, I'm bigger than Nas. I'm better than Nas. Nas old. Nas this. That's used to be people listen to this now. What he got to understand is the genre of music he make is for the South. That's the South, and he ain't even from the South. The Joker
Right.
from Great Britain. He was
From
born a
England.
Brit. Yeah, he a Brit. He's born a Brit. He been here faking the funk. You want to talk about somebody? He been faking the funk for how
Word.
many years?
Go
Like
have
here,
some
he ain't even
tea.
American.
Go
Yeah, he
have
ain't even
some
American.
bro.
Man.
Word.
Yeah. Yeah, you ain't even American. Get out. Bye. That's why you back in England now. Goodbye. Go back to England.
I mean, if anything, you should be emulating Slick Rick or talking about Slick Rick or praising Slick Rick. You should be talking about how Slick Rick inspired you. that would make me respect you. At least then I could have some respect for the cat. But the way these kids act, man, they get no respect.
Yeah,
They
he a
get no.
straight up Brit. He got deported. His whole family got deported. And they're just saying, nah, you ain't relevant. You ain't in the U.S., brother. So go on back to Great Britain
All right, let me
and
see
say
the chat.
cheerio to the Queen for me.
My stepbrother obsessed with Prince. I couldn't stand him. I have put Purple Rain on my comics though. I told you Purple Rain is that shit. 12 played by R. Kelly is a banger, classic to this day. You know what? I like
Yes,
the one
sir.
after 12
I
play, the
like.
one with Religious Love and Step in My Room and all of that. That's the only R. Kelly album I like. The only one. Chris Brown be wilding like that. Yeah, bro. He be out there like that. 21 wish he could make a KD3.
Thank you, metaphysics. Thank you,
Speak.
metaphysics.
I mean, come on, bro. You can't even compare yourself, dog. You shouldn't even be talking about people. But
Nah, not at all.
yeah, man. Not you know, that's just we know that shit's silly, man. Silly shit. All right. Oh, real quick, down the road, from where I stay, the manager at Walmart came in the break room today and just opened fired and just shot 6 employees in the break room and then shot
Oh, that's
himself.
down. Oh, that's down the street from where you live at, man.
Yeah, I go to
Yeah,
that
yeah.
Walmart.
Get out, bro.
Yeah,
Oh
I go
man,
to
yeah.
that Walmart.
I just heard about that early this morning, man. I couldn't
Yeah,
believe it. They said the man, yeah, they said the manager wanted
yeah.
this,
Said
but
a
they
manager.
on CNN though, before you start, they said one guy said, it was somebody on CNN. They went down there and they interviewed some people, and they said they were talking about it like they knew it was going to happen sooner or later. Like like
Oh
like they was.
wow.
I was like, wow,
Oh word, big country. What's up?
yeah, man.
Big country in
Yeah,
the
we glad
building.
you wasn't
Salute.
in there, man. Yeah, we
Yeah,
glad
bro.
you
My
wasn't in
mom,
there.
my mom called me early this morning. I was like, what the fuck? Phone ringing at 7:30 and shit. And I was like, what's going on? She's like, or text. And she's like, hey, are you okay? And I was like, am I okay? Yeah, I'm asleep. What's up? She's like, she sent me the link and shit. And I was like, oh man. I was like, no, I wasn't there last night, but that's crazy. But it wasn't like a guy, it wasn't like a terrorist or like a, you know, a school shooter type thing where they just came in shooting customers and shit. This was actually a disgruntled manager. I guess the manager at the store opened fire on his fellow employees in the break room, killing 6 of them before, you know, turning the gun on himself. There was actually a bunch of people injured too. But the gunman, identified as Andre Bing, 31 years old, of Chesapeake, Virginia, said nothing as he began firing on workers gathered late Tuesday ahead of their overnight shift, according to 2 employees who were in the break room. Dude, that sucks so bad. Can you imagine that? Just people just at work getting ready to start your shift and you're dead now?
It's
Dude,
crazy,
and
bro.
he's the one employee wrote, I just watched 3 of my coworkers and friends be killed in front of me. Andre killed them in cold blood. I cannot unsee what happened in the break room. Like, wow. Um, that's just crazy, bro.
That's true.
At least
That's
4
true.
others, yeah, at least 4 others were wounded in the attack, which took place while about 50 people were inside the store. I guess it was late because they were getting ready to do their overnight shift. It was at night. It was last night. Yeah, Chesapeake police identified the dead as Brian Pendleton, 38. Oh, these are the employees: Brian Pendleton,
Mm.
Kelly Pyle, Lorenzo Gamble, Randy Blevins, who was 70 years old,
Mm.
Tanika Johnson, who was 38, and a 16-year-old boy from Chesapeake whose name was withheld because he was a minor was also killed. Motherfucker, dude. That's what pisses me off, dog. Imagine my kid goes get a job, he's 16.
Yeah, he chilling. He working at Walmart. Makes no sense, man. We had a lot of senseless killings this month, man. You had the 3 boys on the bus, and then in college. Um, then you had the 4 college students out in Idaho, stabbed to death, not shot, stabbed to
Yeah,
death.
And then
and they don't have a motive. They don't have a
The
motive.
LGBT
Yeah,
nightclub,
the LGBTQ club
5
nightclub,
people got shot up.
and then 5 people got shot. Then you got the Walmart here. And the Idaho incident is very peculiar because they weren't shot; they were stabbed. Somebody stabbed 4 people. Nobody knows who did it. They don't have any evidence. They don't have a suspect. Nothing. Somebody stabbed 4 college kids and stepped off. That makes no sense, bro. Like just said, we're gonna be like a Quentin Tarantino movie soon. We just gonna be just so violence is just gonna be just like so second nature to us. It's just not gonna bother us anymore.
Yeah, yeah. It's authorities said that they were still investigating what may have been, what may have motivated him to he came with a single handgun and multiple magazines of ammunition. Yeah, they said they SWAT searched his house and so detectives are working to learn more about the shooter's background and what may have motivated the shooting. You know, and then this and the LGBT nightclub thing and all this stuff is of course every time this happens they run to push these gun laws and gun control and gun control, but I don't understand because I don't see how gun control would affect this in any way. If a criminal wants to get a gun and go shoot some people, do you think they care if it's legal? I don't
No,
get it.
not
I
at all.
don't get it. I don't get the gun laws thing. I don't understand how that has to do with any of this shit. I don't get the correlation. I don't even see the relation in any way. They're not registered legal gun owners. They're criminals. So I don't get because gun laws never affected criminals. That's again, it's bizarre. Really doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. I don't. There something has to be done. That's for sure. Um, you know, death penalty. Yeah,
Definitely, I
he
agree.
killed
I
himself.
agree.
So
I agree.
yeah, but on to some comic stuff. We should jump into the T'Challa, the recast T'Challa movement is talking about if the fact you know if this new if T'Challa's son is going to sour things even more, or if that's gonna sort of satisfy. It's not really recasting T'Challa, it's just a new guy that's also named T'Challa that's going to be, you know what I'm saying? So, but I personally don't know how some people are going to take it because, to me, it's inevitable, but I guess it's some bad news for people that were hoping to see T'Challa come back, but obviously after Wakanda Forever, that's pretty much out of the question unless they pull some sort of insane twist on us. But either way, though, Winston Duke, M'Baku himself said that T'Challa will be recast, but not anytime soon because he believes that it's going to happen when they inevitably reboot the MCU. And that's why I wanted to bring this up because they're talking about, and it made me think like they are going to reboot the MCU one day, whether it's 10 years from now or whatever. At some point, they're going to go, okay, like that was cool, but like we can do it better. So let's do it again and do it right. And so all the stuff that we're complaining about, this whole, all these phases and everything, this might not be the reboot might be for us, this might be for the woke casual audience and the comic heads. We're going to get ours in the reboot. Never know.
I would hope so. I
But it
would
can
hope
happen.
so.
It's kind of inevitable. Yeah, me too,
I hope
man.
so.
I hope so. I do too.
I mean, like I said, they recasted Christopher Reeves. They recasted a bunch of people have been recasted, and we just moved on with our lives. I think that
Mhm.
with Black Panther, it all happened so soon. Like we got one, two, three, 4 movies out of Christopher Reeve before
Yeah.
he had his accident. We only got one
Mhm.
movie. out of Chad Boone before we. But he well one Black Panther movie, but he was in 3 movies. He was in 3 Marvel
Right.
movies, and
But
I feel
yeah,
like
but
they probably think that time was wasted. You know,
yeah, yeah.
I don't think
Um,
it'd have been as sour if we would have got a couple. If we'd have got 2 Black Panther movies and he passed, I don't think it'd have been. People would have been sour. It would still been sad, but I don't think it'd have been as
mm,
left that distasteful taste in their mouth. You
right.
know,
Yeah. It is what it is. Well, before we get to the Andor breakdown, because yes, we are definitely going to break down Andor.
yeah, we
But I just
definitely
want to
got to
real
break
quickly
down
show you guys this new
Gold
joint.
Goblin.
This new, the Golden Goblin. You see that? It's like the Green Goblin. He's got the same sort of glider and everything, and it's Norman Osborn, but he's the Golden Goblin, is the new form that Norman Osborn has taken now that his sins are cleansed. And thanks to the events of the Amazing Spider-Man, Norman has a new path, but that doesn't mean that he's forgotten those sins. In the new series, Christopher Cantwell and Lan Medina flesh out Norman's struggles and new direction as a hero. But with his sins are going to be haunting him, and how long could the heroism last? Because he's been a hero before, kind of. But Gold Goblin #1 is uh is sorry. Oh, my bad. I guess I don't know when it's coming out.
What? It's
No,
out.
I had the date was like right here.
Yeah, it's out. I seen it last week in the comic book store.
It's already out. Okay, I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
picked up a copy. I got a copy. It's in my car.
Uh,
I meant to read it, but I never got a chance to read it yet. I
yeah.
actually
Norman
wasn't gonna
Osborn.
get it. Yeah, I actually wasn't gonna get it because I was like, oh, it might be, but we'll
It
see.
might be whack. It might be trash. It might be cool, but if you're into collecting first appearances or stuff like that, key issues, this is what we call a key issue. Because it's an issue where something happened for the first time, or some event happens or takes place that changes things forever, pretty much, or in some major way. Those are key issues. So every issue doesn't have any big event in it, or something like that. So anytime there's like a new costume for the first time, a new character, obviously, stuff like that. But yeah, Norman Osborn is near impossible to fully redeem permanently. He's just done too much, but he's gone good only to return evil countless times, and has done terrible things to actively ruin Peter Parker's life, and even committed war crimes. But he's just a bad dude. But the the writers here have the task of making us think maybe not. And it's also fighting against history, which reminds us legacy characters always return to their original form, regardless. And his depiction in Amazing Spider-Man has leaned towards good, with the hint that some ghosts are still haunting him. But Gold Goblin #1 makes the case that maybe he's savable. Um, it opens up with a baseball bat hitting a baseball, right? Norman has taken his grandson to the batting cages, and while this is a hopeful and fun activity, we soon learn Norman can't get out of his own head. And much like that bat hitting the ball in the beginning, there's a battle going on that Norman can't escape, as visions and thoughts enter his mind, like a ball being hit out of the park. And it's an interesting metaphor that parallels a moment in the final scene where and Norman questions his goodness early on, but by the end he's signing things like a baseball Hall of Famer. And this issue, smartly written, Cantwell deals with ideas surrounding guilt and heroism and truly awful crimes. And the humanity of Norman is apparent from the first page. Yet by the end, he's signing a skull, and he doesn't realize it. And one can see that he actively wants to be better. Yet he's doing something quite disturbing, unaware of what it means. And after a reflectively efficient recap of how Norman is free of sin and some of his worst acts, the story involves Peter Parker. If you haven't been reading Amazing Spider-Man, you should note Peter is being it has been, suspicious of Norman, but this story takes that and just runs with it. Peter's new take on Norman is an interesting one from a heroic perspective, and it also supercharges Norman's goals. If he can't escape his demons, maybe he can lean into being a hero, kind of thing. So, but I don't know. I think it's a compelling psychological narrative worth exploring. But as a comic reader that's kind of just tired of Norman Osborn, like you, Stu, I was like originally gonna pass by it, but I was invigorated by this first issue with its unique direction for the character. It's something different, and it asks that if a person is removed from their sin, can they ever outgrow the acts themselves? So it's like a deep, it's a deep psychological, uh, you know, kind of joint. So not really for like kids. You know what I mean? It's definitely a more mature book. Um, but yes, like Stu said, it's already available. You can go check it out. Now it's a bunch of other shit that I wanted to do, but I know Stu, you got to dip soon, so let's jump right into Andor, I guess. The uh the show's over. We saw the finale, um, and it was phenomenal. Uh,
Yes, it was. Yeah.
phenomenal. It's I think Andor played the IP game the right way. Star Wars uh it took a pre-existing, story and created something that evaded the nostalgia trap. This is definitely not the fan service Star Wars that Disney has been trying and failing miserably to give us. Um, you know, because for decades, I think the most pertinent Star Wars question thought to ask us usually some variation of like, "Who's your daddy?" Right? You had Luke Skywalker, it was Darth Vader, the source of the young Jedi's yearnings and fears, and for Vader himself, it was still the Anakin Skywalker of the prequel films. It was it, it was no one, and he was immaculately conceived through the Force. There was no father to him, which was the source of his hubris. And it's funny because he's Darth Vader, he's Darth Father, and he's the father of Luke, and he had no father. For Rey of the sequel trilogy, it was unfortunately a Palpatine, but it's always the fatherhood trend that has charted the course through numerous other Star Wars chapters, including recent entries like the Mandalorian and the Obi-Wan show, and it's a strange sort of irony then that the father of Star Wars itself sold Lucasfilm to Disney in 2012, which made Disney the home of, and if you'll forgive the metaphor, the father to all future Star Wars stories. And the IP game, was afoot. But that is the game in which the prequel film Rogue One landed when it was released in 2016, and where its prequel series Andor still finds itself today. Now more than ever, the Star Wars franchise loves to milk its own nostalgia, and we see it. We see them trying to do it anyway. Often with the through line of lineage and Disney, stock demands that Star Wars continue churning out content that gobbles up fans and their money, and the simplest way to do that is by refurbishing familiar stories and characters with a new varnish.
That's
But
true.
it's gotta be done right, though. You can't do what they did with the sequel trilogy and think that, "Oh, let's put Palpatine in it," because that's a character that they love. You The biggest mistake that Lucasfilm ever made is purposely hiring writers that are not fans of Star Wars because they don't even realize that Palpatine can't come back. It was a stupid thing to do, but they would know that if they were fans
And it wasn't
of the
of
right,
the
but
series.
But this, I think, Andor is like is a unicorn, bro. It's so weird because Tony Gilroy is not a fan of Star Wars. He was not like a Star Wars guy, and he because of that, I think he made this show so dope and what it was, and Rogue One too. He made that too. So it's almost like they thought the fact that he wasn't a fan is why he was able to create such dope shit for Star Wars. And so they like, okay, well, let's follow that formula. But no, it's not because he's not a fan. It's because he's Tony Gilroy. He's an exception to the rule. Andor, I think, reminds us what fan fiction writers have always known to be true. Projects born of powerful intellectual property need not be stunted by it. And what makes Andor such a fascinating entry in the Disney chapter of Star Wars history is this: the Tony Gilroy-led series is not a nostalgia piece. Even if it does capitalize on pre-existing IP, the show launched with comparatively low viewership and is operating on a comparatively modest budget, and it has a predetermined number of episodes ahead and will not outlast 2 seasons. Diego Luna's Cassian Andor is a beloved but not widely recognized figure in the Lucas universe. I mean, he's not a Skywalker. He's not an Obi-Wan. He's just a normal guy. And curiously, he's an orphan. But like Rey, before her Palpatine pedigree made itself clear, Cassian has no father. His father figure, Clem, is long dead. But the most dominating, instructive presence in his life is not an erstwhile parent or the Force or a genealogy that he's yet to reckon with. It's the Empire itself. And Andor recognizes that Star Wars has always been political, even when its politics were too tidy. Empire bad, rebellion good, you know?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, so the series cracks open the superficiality of that binary, laying bare the moral sacrifices everyone makes in the wake of rebellion. No longer is the hero swept along the tides of rebellion as part of his own self-actualization. No longer can lineage do the work for him. Even if Cassian Andor does discover things about himself and his family, he does so in overtly political positions. As a child whose world is destroyed by imperial overconsumption, as a renegade profiled by callous guards, in the throes of prison slave labor, his decisions have repercussions far beyond his immediate friends and family. Big implications, empire-wide, galaxy-wide, and we get to watch them. And then Stellan Skarsgård's rebel leader Luthen Rael is one of the best Star Wars characters ever. And he says in one of the late Andor episodes, "I'm damned for what I do. I yearn to be a savior against injustice without contemplating the cost. I burn my decency for someone else's future." Basically sacrifice. And Andor's lesson is that the hero's legacy and their lineage is not theirs alone, right? The Skywalker saga is so small in comparison to the entire galaxy's freedom. And I think, like, I don't know about you, but like when I'm watching this show, I really feel like there's so much more. Like it just really widens the whole Star Wars universe, the galaxy, because it's like, oh, there's all this other shit going on. These people don't even know about the Force. At least they don't talk about it. They definitely don't know about any Jedis or Siths. That's like they don't even know that, and that's realistic because we're just on planet Earth, and everybody on Earth don't know all the same shit. So you telling me that all these planets spread across a galaxy, they don't all know the same stuff. So it's cool to see that there's, just a really expansive universe, people that just might not even know about the Skywalker stuff. Most people don't really, so. But in this finale episode, Rick's Road opens with a child building a bomb which is another data point in the fatherhood flow chart. You know, the kid has been radicalized because he lost his dad to the empire. And the child's name is Wilman Pack, and he's preparing for a war he knows arrived years ago. The Imperial Security Bureau is closing in on Ferrix. That's the planet where they're at, is the
Over
home
there,
world of
yeah.
Andor, right? And as the locals gather for the funeral of Andor's adoptive mother,
Mm.
Merva, um, you know, they're all chilling, but the Imperials are not the only ones who are there looking for Cassian. See, everyone that's in the everyone in the show is all looking for Cassian for different reasons, but most of them want to kill him for different reasons. But his mother's funeral is the one place that everyone figures this is where we're gonna probably get him. So everyone that is after Andor ends up converging in the same place, not really knowing that each other is there, of course. But and then you've got Vel, Cinta, and Luthen, the rebel leader, and they're all anxious to see, you know, Andor killed. They want him dead, even though he's a rebel. He's helping them. Like they're all on the same side, but the way they see it right now, he's just a loose cannon. He's a loose end. He knows too
Yeah,
much.
Lucy, yeah.
Yeah, he
Right.
knows too much, and he's not down with us. He's not a rebel. He's not down for the cause. He was just a
A
mercenary.
hired,
That's
yeah, he
what
was a
they
hired
see.
mercenary. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't know that he's slowly becoming a rebel.
Part
You
of
know
the
what I'm
go, right.
Yeah, and so but we'll get there in a second. And there was never any question whether Cassian, a fugitive again, following his daring prison escape in episode 10, would return to Ferric for the finale. We know this, and yet he's arrived not only to honor his mother's memory, but to rescue his ex-girlfriend Bix, who's been like tortured and gone through all this stuff. And the Sally Yard operator has been captive to the Empire and their screaming child torture machine far, far too long now. And by the time Cassian shuttles her to safety, she's barely conscious. I mean, she's barely sentient. She's just like been tortured to death almost. And
Right. Yeah.
meanwhile, we've got on Coruscant, you've got Mon Mothma, who is facing equally monumental struggles, and the Empire has taken an interest in her family's fortune. Problematic given that she's secretly pouring money into the rebellion. And now that she's going to be in the spotlight for these other reasons, that's why she's stressed out, because she's been dumping this money into the rebellion, and you know they weren't no one would have been the wiser, but now all of a sudden they might be like an audit and all this stuff. So to throw the Imperials off her scent, she concocts a brilliant but desperate plan. During a ride through the airways of Coruscant, she accuses her husband of taking up gambling again. And Mon suspects that her new chauffeur is an Imperial spy. So she tells him, "We want some privacy," but she's pretty sure he's going to be listening anyway. So she uses her husband's general ineptitude against him, and successfully convinces the Empire through this spy that her debts are because her husband's been gambling again, not because she's been pouring money into the rebellion. And she does this as a way to kind of like throw disinformation. But, that doesn't solve her money problems entirely. She still needs to cover her debts. And so her best option is the skeevy Chandrillin banker Davos Skulden, who agrees to facilitate if Mon is willing to introduce her own 13-year-old daughter to his 14-year-old son for marriage.
Right.
And right. And so she was married at 15, and she knows what it was like. And she, her husband and her hate each other,
Right.
and they didn't want. And so they
But
introduced.
it's sort of like a tradition for their people too, to
Right.
match them up and make them. And she doesn't want that for her daughter, but her daughter kind of wants to follow
Yeah.
tradition. But
Her daughter's
you know
down
what I
with it.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, daughter's kind of down with it. Yeah, because she's like, that's what we do.
Mhm.
Like that's.
Yeah.
But living on Coruscant, she's not able to practice anything or even be around people, of her origin and practice their traditions and things like that. She knows about them. She knows
Yeah.
what she just wants to do. And her mother's always against anything like that, and that makes her rebel against her mother.
Right. Right. And oh, hang on. What's going on over here? Oh, this what's going on, man? I thought I had some what you call 'ems, man. Where's all my moderators at? I got fools in here acting stupid. Bix looked like a mumble rapper after a battle with Rakim. I'm telling you. I agree, Reno. Epic feel. Yeah, bro. I'm telling you, man. This is like the dopest shit, bro. And there's a lot of other people right now that are feeling the rebellion squeeze on them too. Vel, Husman's cousin, the blonde rebel chick that from the beginning, she can barely get sent to the look at her. That's her girlfriend. Long enough to remember that they're in love. She's going through shit, and Cassian himself is battling away his regrets that he feels like he left his mother alone there and she died, and he tried to get her to come with him, but she wouldn't do it. And he sees his friend Brazo and reminds him that he knows everything. His friend tells Cassian that his mother said a message was that Cassian knows everything he needs to know and feels everything he needs to feel. The rebellion is no longer his private fight. Now it's in his blood. His old Aldani pal Nemec stokes these fires with a pre-recorded manifesto, which is even the smallest act of insurrection pushes our lines forward. He says the imperial need for control is so desperate because it's so unnatural. Tyranny requires constant effort. Authority is brittle. And these movements converge. And finally, during Merva's funeral, which begins early thanks to some premature anvil clanging from the town bell ringer, more mourners than the Empire approved to be there are gathered in the streets.
I gather, yeah.
It's become a real threat to them. And soon it becomes apparent that the ISB officer, Deidre, who we've been seeing, who's been suspecting the whole thing, and her men only have like a very superficial control of the gathering. It's just very, very fragile. The parade sort of progresses, down Rick's Road, and then we see B2 EMO unveiling a hologram or holocast of Merva in the days leading up to her death. And she addresses the audience of friends and family at her funeral with a warning and basically a call to arms. And she's like saying all this to the people. And I know when she recorded it, she didn't think the Empire would be in full force standing there watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when she says, we let it grow and now it's here. Talking about the Empire. It's here and it's not visiting anymore. It wants to stay. And she finishes her rousing speech, and the Imperials evade one another, and Cassian and the Imperials sort of invading each other. And she says, "Oh, then this guard, this Imperial guy comes up and he throws his jacket over the hologram because he's trying to, stop her from telling them this rebellious speech. And he throws the jacket over it, but it slips. And when the jacket slips, her image pops back up and she says, 'Fight the Empire.' And everyone sees it and they go crazy. And it's just really dope. And right there, all hell breaks loose. And then the little kid from the beginning who was building the bomb, he throws his bomb right as the former employee Cyril, who's now here, is running to save Deidre from the bomb because he's like infatuated with her. And the street sort of blows up and dust and shrapnel everywhere. The stormtroopers start shooting and people are dying, and Andor, is running around. And then this show lets us see people getting killed and shot. And like, this is not the 12-year-old Star Wars anymore. This is grown up Star Wars here. And so it's, what I'm saying? And Cassian gets his girlfriend Bix to safety. Right at the same time, Cyril gets Deidre and saves her from the crowd who's about to tear her apart. And they can't seem to fathom, she can't seem to believe her eyes that her former stalker from, the Empire has somehow found her here and has saved her from from the Ferrex mob. And then Cassian is sort of carts his friends to the shipyard where Bix and Brasso and Willman and B2 Emo and company escape from Ferrex to the Gangi moon, and Cassian doesn't go with them. He stays, and then instead he finds Luthen. And by the way, just a big ass shout out to Luthen's custom ship. That thing is dope. We're gonna talk about that in a second, but that ship is amazing. So he finds Luthen at his ship, and he sort of intercepts him. And remember, Luthen's there to kill him. So Cassian gives him this one-time recruiter a simple choice. He says, "Kill me or enlist me into the cause." You know, this time is for real. No strings attached, no turning back. You're not paying me. This is not a mercenary job. I'm in this with you if you'll have me. If you won't, kill me now. And so Luthen just kind of smiles. And we know that smile means that he's going to bring him into the... Because I think Luthen realizes at this point, okay, wait a minute. Cassian's not just some loose and he's not just some mercenary that doesn't care about the cause anymore. I see in him that he gets it now. He's really down with the cause.
Right.
So,
which is what Luthen wanted. That's what Luthen wanted from the beginning.
In the first place. So
that's what he wanted at first. He wanted him to join the cause, right?
Yeah,
and I don't have to kill him. But that speech, Reno, that's the greatest speech in Star Wars history.
I'm telling you, bro.
I don't think we'll ever get a greater speech in the history of Star Wars.
And that's not the end of the episode. As the credits roll, the Star Wars takes a page from Marvel and in the form of a post-credit scene. And we get tell you what. All right, so check it out, y'all. Stu, remember when we were watching them build all those parts on Nakima? And you said they were building parts.
What did I say it was?
Parts for the Death Star, you said?
Yes, sir.
All right, check it out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's those parts that they were building, that 5-star looking thing. And boom, we zoom out. And it's like, oh shit. It's like a radar dish or something. Wait a minute, that's the Death Star, bitch. Epic.
I was 100% right.
100% right. Epic.
Yes, sir. Epic. Yeah.
Yeah, bro, that was dope shit, man. So,
yeah, because you had to have an intense, large labor force, and remember, a lot of people forget. It's just two things people forget about Andor. It's everything that happened before A New Hope, number one, and number two, they built the Death Star in secret. Nobody saw the Death Star before Rogue One.
And unbeknownst to the prisoners, the people building the Death Star didn't know what they were building.
They didn't,
what I'm saying? Yeah. Because like you're building those brackets or whatever, those 5-star things, that doesn't look like anything. You don't know what that is. You know what I'm saying? And they were building the Death Star. It's crazy. And I don't know, man. Could there be a more ideal ending to this season? I don't think so, man. It's twisted. It's obscene. It makes perfect sense. That Cassian and his crew would labor on behalf of the space station that he'd soon die trying to destroy is so poetic. It's almost musical. I mean, it's just so romantic even. It speaks volumes about the direction that Tony Gilroy attempted to wrench the Star Wars universe toward. And the IP is only going to survive if its chapters evolve beyond and perhaps even eclipse their predecessors. And the best way to evolve IP is to interrogate it. And, how'd this happen? Who built this system? Who won? Who suffered? We already know the Empire is evil. The rebellion is good. But how did they come to be viewed that way? Why?
Yeah.
Nostalgia can be a source of inspiration, but it shouldn't be the basis of your whole story. You know what I'm saying? And Star Wars is all about its sacred IP. You know, its characters' lineage. It is still about paternity, the parents' responsibility to and impact on the future. But Andor proved that our understanding of what that means can and should change. Cassian Andor is not necessarily a more interesting hero than Luke Skywalker or Anakin, but he's a different face on the same die, the same 20-sided die, you know. But Andor thought to ask a different question of him, not who's your daddy, but why does it matter? Why do we care? And that's something that no other Star Wars show has done, or property. Period. No other movie or show or anything. So it's very unique. Badass, baby.
Yeah, very badass.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man. So, Stu, it's been an hour and 10 minutes. You said you had an hour. What's going on? Is wifey hollering
That's
at
all
you
I
or
got.
what?
Nah, we
You
gotta
gotta,
get back to getting
you
this
gotta
place
go?
together for tomorrow, man. So, happy Thanksgiving to all you guys out there, man. And I thank you guys for coming to just coming and checking us out, man. Past couple years, past couple Thanksgivings. We here at Six Element of Hip Hop, man. We are thankful for you. You know what I mean? This is the week of being thankful. So we thank you all for coming and we thank you for being here. And we want you to
Definitely.
keep coming back. Yeah, keep coming back, man, because we're gonna always be thankful for you. We're gonna always be here to give you a good show, man. Do what we can to bring you the latest and greatest news and chop it up about comics, hip hop, and Star Wars.
Sure. And
But
Norin
thank you
Rad.
guys, man. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, man. I
yeah.
definitely need. We don't
For
say it
supporting
enough.
us. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you for
yeah,
supporting us, guys. Seriously. Thank you
definitely,
for your
definitely.
time. Yeah, thank you for your
Sure.
time because you take the time out to watch us 3 days a week.
That's right. That's right. We really appreciate it. And you know, if it wasn't for y'all, we wouldn't be doing this. So that's what's up. And Norin Rad said, "I'm confused as to why was the Death Star made? Wasn't it to take out the rebels in the first place?" No, the Death Star was
Nah,
originally
no.
it was originally just a weapon of mass destruction that they could
Right.
use to
To keep
threaten.
everybody in check.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, look, we've got the Death Star. You can't rebel, so it was kind of a preemptive against any sort of rebelling that could happen.
Right.
Then, yeah, then the rebels just happened to get the plans and blow it up. So yeah, the rebels were fighting it, and yeah, they were gonna use it against the rebels, but that's not originally why they built it. But once they did have
Right.
it,
It was a
yeah,
deterrent.
they were
It was
yeah,
mostly a deterrent. Yeah.
they were gonna blow
I
up
mean, Nora. Yeah.
Alderaan,
Like Nora
with
Rad. Think if.
Princess Leia.
Yeah. Like think Nora Rad. If your planet is a rebellious planet, at this part the Senate is dissolved, and everything went through the Senate in order to make move. Because remember in episodes 1, 2, and 3, they had the blockades and all of that. So
Right.
now none of that worked. So now they're saying, well, we need a bigger deterrent than these blockades and these viceroys. We need something bigger than this droid army. That didn't work because the planets, they still rebelled against us. So Emperor dissolved the Senate. He was like, look, I got something better. If you lived on a planet and you saw the Death Star in orbit looking like a moon, and one
Right.
shot from it can kill you, what it did in
You'd be
Rogue
like, oh,
One,
I ain't fucking with that.
you know, create a massive. Yeah, you ain't messing with them. You like, nah, it's gonna be. They can wipe us all out in one shot. You
Mhm.
know. So
Blow up whole
now
planet.
it's a
And
great deterrent.
that's why
Right.
they blew up Princess Leia's
Alderaan. Alderaan.
homeworld, Alderaan, because they wanted to
Yeah.
show they wanted to show people this is what this can do. It's like an example. Like we just make an example of Alderaan
And
and
then they wanted to
and
show
blowing up the
us
whole
in
planet.
Rogue One. Right. In Rogue One, they want to show us what it can do. Marv Toffin was like, with fire, what do you say, 50%, 30%, something
Yeah.
like that. And look at the destruction that it caused at that. It wasn't even at full power. He didn't even fire
Right.
a full power blast, and look what it did. I mean, it
Mhm.
created a mushroom cloud, and then that energy wave just swept and killed everything. On that, on Scarif. Like
Yeah.
it was a weapon of mass destruction, like Lino said, and a great
Yeah.
deterrent to anybody who ever, wherever wanted to rise up against the empire.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I was gonna mention I was gonna talk about Luthen's that ship. So I on Instagram I had did a little post where I filmed a little section of the show because it was like a little section, the little part where they where Luthen escapes in his ship, and Tony Gilroy explains why his Cantwell class cruiser action set piece and how they did it, what it was about and stuff. But that's a new kind of ship. Like that's a whole new that weapon where the beams came out from the side and it just sort of spun in a circle and the beams just like blew up anything that it touched. That's epic. That's some new shit. And just the whole design of it was dope. I really hope that they make a like a Black Series toy or something of this
Or
thing.
Hot Wheels put something out. I don't know. Yeah, something.
Hot Wheels.
I mean, yeah, because I have all the Hot Wheels, the
Yeah,
die-cast ones.
that's true. Yeah,
I have a
yeah,
lot of the die-cast ones. Yeah, I got a bunch of
yeah.
those.
Yeah, I do. I
I
have some
show.
die-cast ships too.
Yeah, I got the.
I
I
got a
always get the Hot Wheels die because Hot Wheels has a whole die-cast line of Star Wars vehicles.
do they? Let me
Yeah,
see.
man, hold on. Let me see. I get them. I got a bunch of them. Let me get them. Yeah, those are the ones I have. Yep, that's them right there. Yep, I ain't even
Yeah,
got to get one. Yeah,
yeah,
those are the same ones I got. Yep,
yeah.
those are the Star Wars line. Yep, I even
Yeah.
got Yeah, hold on.
I
I got the
got
same
this
ones
is
you
dope.
got.
That's Poe Dameron's X-wing, which there's some listen, there's some stuff from the sequel trilogy that's cool. I mean, Kylo Ren is cool. Poe Dameron's Black X-wing is cool. Like, don't get me wrong, it's some cool shit. Yeah, that's the First Orders, whatchamacallem. And there's oh, see, yeah, I don't have that one. That's the Mando's joint.
Let's raise it back.
Yeah,
Check this one
Mandalorian.
out.
Slave One.
Mm,
Oh yeah, what's that one? What is that?
It's the Bad Batch. This is their shit. I forget what it's
Oh,
called.
okay. I was gonna say I ain't seen
This
that
is
one
their
before.
joint. Yeah,
Yeah,
this is Bad
that's
Batch.
dope.
Yeah, this is bad, and the wings even pop up.
Oh wow,
So,
that is hot.
so yeah.
Yeah. Gotta have the Millennium
Yeah, I got a
Falcon.
Millennium Falcon. Yeah, I got the Falcon. I got Slave One. I got the Falcon. I've been looking for an X-wing, but I want what's your
We're,
name's
we're,
X-wing?
we're nerds.
Uh, I want the one you got. What's his name? I want his X-wing.
What Poe?
Yeah, I want Poe's X-wing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I love that shit. Definitely the coolest X-wing in Star Wars because it's all black. But I need that. I need that Mando ship.
You need Luther. You need yeah.
But I really want.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I really want is this motherfucker. This is what I
Hey
need.
man,
Luthen's joint.
Hopefully Hot Wheels puts one out. They're pretty consistent, bro.
Yeah,
Hopefully they give us one,
yeah,
man, because I definitely
yeah.
will
If
get it.
they that's real. Because if they put out the Bad
Yeah,
Batch's joint and Mando's joint, they
yeah.
definitely put this one out.
And I usually collect these, Reno, because I like collect with the ships a bit. So I can collect these because they're small. You know what I mean? I
Right,
got space for these. The bigger
right.
ones, you be like, man, where am I gonna put that? But I got space for these. I
Just
got somewhere to
realized
put them.
these little things hook
Yeah, they
on your
go on your
finger.
finger. Yeah, they go on your finger. Those are the
I
flip.
didn't notice
Yeah,
that till just now.
yeah. The newer ones came with the stands. They come with these stands. They don't do that. They don't do the finger
Yeah,
joint.
yeah. This one just got
I
the
guess they
stand.
figure. I guess they figure kids ain't got imagination, so you just put it on the stand and slide it across the. You know.
Yeah, and check them out. Or they realized 40-year-olds and 50-year-olds are gonna buy these, not kids. So we'll just put a stand on it because they're not gonna fly them. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah, they're gonna finger fly.
Finger fly. You gotta
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, pew 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 pew
pew,
pew.
pew,
Yeah,
pew. All right.
yeah, they're not gonna do that. Yeah.
All right, but yeah, that's a dope shit, man. It's got some cool capabilities. It's customized. It's custom. So, man, I was gonna talk about the 18 most powerful Omega level mutants in Marvel. But we don't have time today, guys, so I'll have to do that probably Saturday. The GOAT, Franklin Richards. But yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that Saturday because Stu got to go. But yeah, man, happy Thanksgiving, guys. Have a good Thanksgiving tomorrow. Have a good Turkey Day. Be thankful for your families and all of that. And we're definitely thankful for y'all. And we'll see you
It's a
guys Saturday.
attack shuttle 75314. That's what they call it.
That's what they call it.
That's what they call it. Yeah.
I gotta
I
watch
just
Bad Batch.
Yeah, I just asked Alexa, and that's what she said. She said it's called the Attack Shuttle 75314.
Yeah, I gotta finish Bad Batch. I gotta finish season 1. Season 2 will be
Season
coming.
season 2 is coming out.
Yeah, yeah. Look at this. The Black Panther special thanks to the creators in the cast in the credits, and it's Black Panther is created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, Jason Aaron, Bob Allman, Ken Bald, Brian Michael Bendis, Ed Brubaker, Rich Buckler, John Buscema, Stefano Cassell, Tanahashi Coates, Oliver Coipel, Gene Colan, Will Conrad, Mike Diodato, Scott Eaton, Steve Epting, Bill Everett, Matt Fraction, Billy Graham, Jonathan Hickman, Reginald Hewden, Ken Lashley, Jonathan Mayberry, Kenny March. You know what? I know a lot. There's Jimmy Palmiotti. He's been on our show.
Yeah.
Christopher Priest, Joe Quesada, John Romita Jr., Jim Steranko, Roy Thomas. I know most of these guys. I mean, Ed Brubaker is one of the dopest writers of true crime comics. Brian Michael Bendis is a goat. John Buscema is a goat. Who else? Who else? Jonathan Hickman is my favorite, hands down. Jonathan Mayberry is a dope author. Jimmy Palmiotti, obviously, John Quesada, John Romita Jr., and Jim Steranko. Yeah, man, all goats in the game. Yeah, I just had to put because I was looking at watching the credits and like, damn, these are all the people that created this. And I saw Jimmy Palmiotti's name up there. I was like, well, we got to talk about that real quick. But y'all already know, man. Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here. Guys, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, tell your friends, watch the replay, all that good stuff to help us help you. And we'll see you guys Saturday, right? All right.
Peace.
Peace.